So I was sent this by Jim. Britain's new social credit system. Yeah. Now this is from the Lotus Eaters Daily. Oh my god, I think I've mentioned them in the past. I think their logo just smacks of something like OTO. There's something definitely occult piss take about it. Yeah. And you can see it there, of course, as well if you expand on it. This just something, it just doesn't feel right. And of course, this guy, Carl Benjamin, and how did he come to prominence again? What was it? Something about Gamergate or something? Now, I mean, in the noughties, while I was trying to absorb an awful lot of data and I was doing remote assistance and various other things, but yeah, I did a bit of gaming. Because I just thought it was one of many tools to wake other people up. Between that, a comment section in the Scotsman, later on the Daily Mail, various other things, you found it quite effective. But, I mean, I seem to remember with Carl Benjamin, I could be wrong about his name, but one of the things about why he came into prominence based on, it was about this imposition in gaming of more and more sort of feminist attitudes and what. Look, it never used to be a thing, but they have to be everywhere. I get that, yeah. But I remember a game, for example, which is about transformational change. It's so ball deep in the occult, honestly. It's called EVE Online. And if you aren't aware of it, look at it. Look at and the background of it, what you play in it. You can be anything you want, and if you die, as long as you paid credits, you can be reborn in another clone, etc. I mean, it's just ball deep in an awful lot of the technocracy and various other things going on just now. But even then, I noticed some things creeping in the late noughties. You'd suddenly have people coming into the game as such, and they go, oh, listen, I've got a 12-year-old child here, blah, 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 or whatever else, and so could everybody be polite? And you're like, what the hell's a 12-year-old doing in gaming for a start, you disgrace of a parent? They should be reading books, they should be doing so many other things, they should be out in fresh air, blah, blah, blah. And I certainly would not recommend gaming for anybody, by and large, other than what it used to be about, which was a wee bit of shoot 'em up, blah, blah, blah. But things you could walk away from quite easily and just get on with your life, blah, blah, blah. I would not recommend gaming to anybody, in all honesty. Anyway, from memory, that's why he came to prominence. That this individual, and even this, it's like the Masonic chair, even the background, like a court, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I find him personally, in all honesty, a waffling bastard. I really do. Him and so many others. Because let's face it, if they're not talking about Freemasonry, Eastern Star, the various networks, blah, 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 what's going on? Well, who are these people? But they get vast amounts of prominence, even although they're vilified in certain respects, but they're on all the mainstream programs, they're on the BBC, they're on blah, blah, blah. And only now, in this particular video, and under fair use, did this guy say the following. Think about this. Under pub and travel bans proposed under sentencing rule changes. So I'll aim the mic at the speaker and play.
Tyranny of a Labour government. And Pete Hitchens did warn us, but man, nobody, I think, saw this coming, right?
Think about what this tool just said. Nobody saw this coming. Think about it. Pub and travel bans proposed under... How are they going to do that? Well, obviously through the control of their money. Now, well, most people are thinking, it's just the scum of the earth, that's prisoners. They get a bit of credit as they come out, blah, 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 but they can only be allowed to spend it on certain things, and that's absolutely fine. What most people don't realise is, no, where this is going, your account, they'll start dictating to you what you can spend your money on, because maybe you said some hurty words, or you're eating too much of one thing, or you're drinking too much of the other, all the rest of it. People have not got a fucking clue at all. But these geniuses, these waffling bastards, think about this.
There appears to be no particular end to the potential tyranny of a Labour government. And Pete Hitchens did warn us, but man, nobody, I think, saw this coming, right? But the thing is, this isn't entirely of their own making either. As you can see here, pub and travel bans proposed under sentencing rule changes. So what this means is that Shabana Mahmood, I believe her name is, not that I don't know what her name is, the point is, can I pronounce it correctly? For some reason they're not even listening.
What a waffling bastard he is, and honestly, you know, they see him as like one of the many fonts of all knowledge, and oh dear God. Oh, look, cutting through the waffling crap, for example this. So people convicted of crimes in England and Wales could find themselves barred from going to pubs and sports matches as part of changes to sentencing rules. Courts imposing community sentences would have the power to hand out driving and travel bans. Think about this. Well, it goes back to what we were warning for years. Yeah? All of a sudden, that's why they've been promoting electric cars remotely. Oh, you've said hurty words, or blah, 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 or your carbon credit. Sorry, that car's just not going to drive you anywhere. Not until you behave better, or whatever it is, blah, 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 right? That doesn't matter if you've just come out of jail, or just a member of the public. So, the sentencing bill is likely to also include plans to reduce the use of short prison sentences. To restrict the use of short prison sentences to ease overcrowding. As well as introduce a scheme to release some well-behaved inmates early. This is all part of the 15-minute cities and the 20-minute neighbourhoods and all the rest of it. Have you been a good individual? You can go to zone in Sector 5 in this city and town and village. Yeah? These people are so behind the curve, but that's what they're there for. Seriously. Oh, now they'll be like, oh, well, he said the following. Oh, well, that might be happening then. But they never really go into the detail. They're the last to come out with anything. You know, it would not surprise me a couple of years down the line, this waffling tossbag might even entertain the idea that there's some secret occult aspects of, you know, what we see going on behind the scenes. You know, is there a connection? Yeah, maybe it'll be like a couple of years from now or something. But yeah, seriously. As always, I could do a better job. And if anybody who's new to this, you know, like, Scott, what are you talking about? Look up Agenda 21, 15-minute cities, 20-minute neighbourhoods, but focus on Agenda 21. Look up vids from 20 plus years ago and realise what they were saying then is absolutely happening in real time now. Yeah? And think about cashless societies and how do you get that order out of chaos? You know, thesis, antithesis brings about synthesis. Yeah? Oh, well, we're just going to have to make sure. Even when it comes, you're hearing more and more about knives just now. But remember, under a cashless society, whether you've done a crime or not, well, you've already had a knife for your kitchen. You know, like, even the days, it's just, the innocent days of being able to have kitchen cutlery, all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. Every aspect of your life becomes utterly controlled when you go to a digital currency. And for years, I mean, I shared this last night, but I don't think maybe most people weren't getting what I mean. I mean, I had no idea about the Bitcoin aspect of what most people were picking up on this. I looked at it as, hi, I'd like a wake-up call. They print money out of nothing, devalue your savings with inflation, then tax you for using it. The whole system is built to exploit you. But with the Bitcoin aspect, there, I hadn't worked out, I was busy, but I hadn't worked out that most people would relate that to the promotion of Bitcoin. I would argue it's still they print money out of nothing. It's still ones and zeros. I'd rather have paper money in many regards than just ones and zeros. After all, this is where you're going with that, yeah? And remember, who stood to gain about the promotion of Bitcoin and all that cryptocurrency nonsense about, 15 years ago and to this day? And apparently some of it's created based around the use of gaming card GPUs because of their processing power, blah, blah, blah. But you're just creating it out of, when you look historically for thousands of years, things that absolutely held intrinsic value were precious metals, commodities, food, long-term stuff that you need from the day-to-day, yeah? Because whether it's on a bloody digital hard drive or in a bank, it can disappear like that. And while people say, oh no, I've got it on my pen drive, blah, blah, blah. Have you heard of electromagnetic pulses? You idiots! Seriously. I know it's a religion to many about crypto, but seriously, if I was in a position of having some serious wealth, I would absolutely be looking at things of a tangible value that would not be affected, for example, by an electromagnetic pulse that was stuck in a bloody hard drive. Why is it, honestly, for decades? I mean, in the 90s, do you think it was an accident they did that? Oh, hackers this. Oh, they're all cool. They beat the system, etc., etc. And then all these movies where the baddies, the villains, the goodies, the whatever, it's a transference of money, through this internet pesh and all the rest of it. And, hey, that's it. This is the way to go. This is what you're drawn to. Meanwhile, what are the accountants doing? Well, property, certain types of, precious metals, land, boats, anything with an intrinsic, tangible value that no matter what happens on the internet, their life goes on. Seriously. As always, I'll repeat, I could do a better job, but I struggle times even for the motivation of uploading events over the stuff that we've talked about quite literally for fucking decades. And it's geniuses like this, really. Fuck off. Anyway, your thoughts, a few thumbs up, a share or two, a subscription. Do me the honour, and I'll speak to you soon.